Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, my name is Raehan Anwar. Today I want to present my PowerPoint presentation about interpreter. The definition of interpreter. An interpreter is someone who translates something both ways on the spot without using a dictionary or other additional reference materials. An interpreter, an expert at translating verbally both simultaneously and consistently, which is usually found at international meeting opportunities and so on. Interpreter must focus on the meaning of the choice word used. Types of interpreter. 1. Medical interpreter. In a healthcare setting, it is extremely important to have communication between clinicians and patients. Medical interpreting provides that communication between patient and their doctor, nurses, and other staff to ensure medical providers understand the patient symptom for accurate diagnosis, as well as to ensure patients understand their treatment plans. Quality medical interpreting requires intimate knowledge of medical terminology, as well as the ability to communicate medical concepts clearly and simply, and understand of cultural differences is also a necessity. Legal interpreters. 2. Legal interpreter. A legal interpreter can work in trial and hearings, as well as in law offices at deposition at attorney-client meeting. Legal interpreters need to understand both colloquial vocabulary and specialized legal terminology. They also need to be able to make the terminology understandable to a layperson. Sometimes a legal interpreter may also be asked to translate written document aloud, side translation in trial hearing enrichment. Number 3. Sign language interpreters. Sign language interpreters help ease communication between deaf or hard of hearing people, and they primarily use American Sign Language, but can be asked to interpret using English word added or even to make things clear for people who lips read. Some sign language interpreters specialize in tactile signaling for those who are both blind and deaf. And then conference interpreter. Usually fluent in more than 2 languages, conference interpreters are highly skilled and are commonly found at the United Nations doing stimulation interpreters. And guides interpreter. Also known as escort interpreters, guide interpreters accompany visitors to the US in order to facilitate communication. Some professional interpreters prefer this, especially as it involves frequent travel, special event and location, and is often more informal. Guide interpreting assignment can run for days or weeks at a time. How to be an interpreter. Successful interpreters should be great listeners as well as adept public speakers. Similar to a translator, interpreters need to be fluent in both languages and familiar with the cultures in order to translate colloquial phrases and other culturally specific idioms in a manner their target audience will understand. And the last is roles of the interpreter. Interpreter must interpret everything that is said by all people in the interaction without omitting, adding, condensing, or changing anything. An interpreter's function is to facilitate communication. Interpreters are not responsible for what is said by anyone for whom they are interpreting. The role of the interpreter and the job of communicating in more than the language. An interpreter is a professional translator. An interpreter is a specialist. An interpreter is an intercultural mediator. An interpreter is a strategic partner. Alright everyone, that's all about my interpreter presentation. Thank you so much for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.